Now there is news. I heard this is a big video to have, right? This is a big video to have. Necrit has said Riot is trying the impossible.
History
And before we get on, I just want to say every time Necrit posts a video, it's got to be rather about the MMO or Riot rather A fucking up or doing something perfect. So let's just hope for the best. Hope for the best.
itself. It is not history that has anything to do with League of Legends, and it is not history that has anything to do with Riot Games. And still, Riot is making a move we've seen only a few months ago, and they are trying to make a move that shocked the entire industry a few years ago. But in Riot's case, the outcome might be one massive gamble. So the news came literally out of nowhere, with two Korean pro players just starting their streams, and they casually revealed that Riot Games is working on League of Legends Classic. Now, how credible is
Please.
this? Well, quite a lot considering it is Doinb and Uzi.
Please.
But somehow, I still have no idea how it's possible for something like this to leak. For context, I do have my fair share of experience dealing with Riot's NDAs. And after about 10 years, I still, successfully, never leaked anything. And that's because the way Riot works is that when they show you something, either because of testing or because they need opinions, or to just give creators some time ahead to make content, they always show you the dates and they remind them at the beginning and at the end of every presentation. And because people still keep leaking stuff, they shove the embargo dates in your face at every opportunity. And so, for someone to just come out and casually reveal this, I have no idea how it's possible. What is even more hilarious is the way Doinb and Uzi
Okay, if you're not a League player and you haven't played old League, like from season, I think season 5 was when everything changed. From like season, well, obviously the original to like season 4, League One is on its steady climb, right? There was esports coming, there was obviously all these cool champions, everything felt new, everything felt exciting. People were going to play League, or all the big streamers that you know that come from League were like new to it, you know? But there was like League Classic is not obviously the same as like World of Warcraft Classic. It's a different type of game. But League Classic allowed people to just have fun. And everything wasn't so micromanaged and over the top, you know, like it was. Yeah, it was good. It was clean.
Doinb said, and I quote, "I don't really have any news. All I know is that Classic server is supposed to come out next month."
Next month.
So you do have news. After which Uzi came out and said, and I quote, "The word on the street is League of Legends is getting a Classic server. Is it public knowledge? I still can't talk about it." After which he realized that Riot hasn't said anything yet, and he kinda realized he screwed up by revealing it. After which he freaked out even more because Riot really hasn't announced it, considering it is coming out soon. Which lines up with Doinb mentioning it should be coming out next month. So as far as Alibi goes, this seems legit, and it is funny to see it got leaked so casually. And what supports this even more is another chain of events that happened around Riot.
Oh,
more on that later.
Tyler 1 is the most famous one here, but these other guys, mainly this dude, but these other guys, they're if you think about the classic WoW team, if you're from World of Warcraft, this is basically the copy. Do you know what I mean? This is the carbon copy.
First, what even is Classic League of Legends? Well, as far as we know, the idea would be the same thing that Blizzard pulled off, which made them an unholy amount of money, and that was releasing Classic WoW, which became one of the biggest releases in MMO history.
Yes.
Essentially, just like how Classic WoW released the original World of Warcraft. Because after 20 years of updates, the game became totally different, League of Legends might be trying to do the same thing. AKA, League of Legends might be coming out with a new game mode that allows you to play League of Legends from Season 2.
Ooh, yes, that's
or
insane.
Another well-known old season from the past. And you see...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when does it start? When does it end? Because, like, if you go from Season 1, I think you've only got, like, 30 characters you can play. I don't know if everything's 30. I think it might be even less. I think it might be 15. but they started pumping out so many characters. Now you've got like hundreds of characters. So like
that is exactly where Classic League of Legends might run into some issues. Now, the truth is that the idea of Classic League has been around the community for a while. And all it takes is a quick search or two to find many videos on YouTube talking about this potential. And the rule of content states that if there is one person talking about a topic, it is guaranteed that there will be other people with the same mindset that will be interested in the same thing.
yeah,
Meaning, there is definitely gonna be some demand for League Classic. However, as we just mentioned, it is not gonna be easy to pull it off. Because what exactly is League Classic? Is it League from 10 years ago, or is it League from 15 years ago? Because truth be told,
True.
Season 1 of League of Legends was a lot different from Season 6 of League of Legends. And that is one of the biggest obstacles here. With World of Warcraft, Blizzard knew exactly what they needed to do. Because Vanilla WoW was a very specific time period in the game's lifespan, which people just really wanted to experience again. On top of which, all Blizzard had to do was follow the patches of the game as it released, which guaranteed that people would be going through progressive content. In League, if we go back to the old seasons, there wasn't any progressive content. Back in the day, new content for League of Legends was new skins, because back then, skins weren't oversaturated yet, and so people got excited about everything. Or new champions, because again, there weren't too many champions yet, and they were...
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure, like, the first set of these is, like, that's what it was. The OG champions, they're still in the game, almost pretty much exactly the same as they once were.
Coming out about every 3 weeks. On top of which, to sprinkle in some new fast and fun game modes, Dominion came out of nowhere. But I strongly doubt that's something you want to do with League Classic. I don't believe you want to have a progressive thing, because eventually you do end up with Modern League anyway. Which, yes, that is the exact same problem that Classic WoW eventually ran into after Wrath of the Lich King. But again, with WoW, the progression is completely different from League of Legends. Here, because you don't have a theme that ties together multiple seasons, you kinda just have to pick one season and stick with it. And once you lock it in, you just need to give the players the old experience of that season. And that is where issue number 2 comes in.
Season 3, Season 4.
Because if you take old League and you give it to new players, that solves the game in many ways. People are gonna destroy it. And that's good. Honestly, if League Classic becomes a thing, it needs to focus on the fun. Or potentially destroying the fun of the enemy with AP Scion. And that's because that's pretty...
There's the whole thing as well, like Classic League, everything was broken. It just hadn't been discovered yet. So that's the difference.
Pretty much the spirit
everything was broken.
Of Classic League. Back in the day, most people didn't even play ranked. They didn't min-max every part of every champion. I mean, of course, at the highest level, people still did. But at that point, the game was still pretty much taken over by the casual audience, and people just picked whatever champions they wanted in whatever lane they wanted. Because nobody understood the meta, and everyone was here to have fun. And this is the experience that Classic League needs to deliver. Of course, people will still try to force some kind of meta onto the old game, that is unavoidable. But when it comes to the balance, just don't. Just give the game to the players as it was back then and see what happens. Which also brings up another interesting issue. Remember, the old league had talent trees, it had a completely different rune system, and it had completely different setting up of champions. So how is that gonna work? Well, could Riot actually spin up the old systems in the new client? Technically, using the new UI of the client, yes they could. And the way you could handle this is by giving the players unlimited amount to the old resources. This means unlocking the talents and giving people free runes. Because remember, back in the day, the runes were quite the sink. And then you just let people customize the builds just as it worked back then. But the issue would be that now you are taking up memory because people are saving all the builds. Though I guess that one could work if it is stored locally, but if it is stored locally, then hacking could happen. So the other solution would be for every champion to just have a build already built into the champion. Kinda how you just pick a champion in ARAM and you don't deal with builds. But
no, they don't need to do the old rune system. Ignore the runes, that's irrelevant, you know? But that's pretty much it.
still need different options for champions to be junglers or not and stuff. Not to mention hybrid champions. And that brings up yet another issue. You see, there is a good chance that Riot has the old assets from the old version stored somewhere. And there is a good chance that they did find a way to spin it all up. But it is extremely likely that they are not gonna be launching the old engine to run old League on it.
I wouldn't mind if they just gave the old champs, the old scaling, and the old items included with the new champs, the new scaling, and the new items. Because it would be good to see the variables of, you're going to pick a Kassadin. Okay, you got modern day Kassadin, and you've got old Kassadin. What one do you want? And that would be fine, because if people want to play new Cho'Gath, and they want to fight new Cho'Gath against old Cho'Gath, you're allowed. New Cho'Gath might be broken, the cooldowns might be quicker, things might work better, the ratios might be a bit worse, but they might scale a little bit differently. So there's also that, because like if you've got a little bit of AP now on your E, for example, then that might scale better with the old Deathfire's Grasp, but new Lich Bane versus old Lich Bane, like it's all these different variables, you know. And it would be good. It would be a mismatch of just let's go have fun, like Ultra Rapid Fire in the Earth, you know?
Security reasons aside, Old League was built for old hardware with old drivers.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to compatibility, if you launch Old League now, there's gonna be a bunch of errors. Interestingly enough, when Classic WoW launched, Blizzard fixed this by making Classic WoW run on the framework of the modern WoW client, meaning it is using...
Also, there's a lot of developers in Riot who used to work in Blizzard. So not just recent goers, but the old ones as well, you know? So
the modern WoW engine
they might know it.
it.
They might know
That is why Classic WoW was technically better than the old version, because it has improved lighting and it has better materials for water. And it is not because Blizzard wanted to make Classic WoW look better. Instead, it is because they couldn't make it look worse. And when it comes to League Classic, Riot will have to do the exact same thing. Especially if Vanguard is in play. And so if they actually manage to run League Classic, it has to be running on the modern engine. And so already, if this was done by the Game Modes team, they deserve a big applause, because making this run is gonna be a miracle. But also, yes, because of this, it is unlikely that League Classic is gonna be a separate server with a separate game, but rather it is gonna be a time-limited game mode inside League of Legends.
Oh, that would be
because
so
on top
fun,
of this,
man.
you can't make it run with a separate store and the old skins. People are gonna freak out because they already bought them. And so because it has to be integrated into the new client, a game mode would make sense. In fact, I believe this would be the easiest way to do this in the first place. Because if Classic League launches as a time-limited game mode, with Season 1 specifically, because if you want to start somewhere, then it makes sense to start at the very beginning. If it becomes a success, well, next time you can do a time-limited run of Season 2, followed by Season 3, and so on. By doing this, Riot can actually utilize the fun of League Classic, and they can technically give it the same progressive feeling which all the other retro relaunched games have. And if you do this frequently enough, you can actually attract new players. Which leaves us with one more thing to be mentioned. Assuming the general audience would like Classic to happen, how likely is it that Riot is actually working on it right now? Well, at the beginning of this video, I did mention that history repeats itself.
Yes.
And now there is quite a big chance that Classic is happening. So first, let's talk about Chrono
I think he knows.
Shift. This is something that many of you will not know about, because it is kinda a black market kinda deal. But for quite some time, the League of Legends community was trying to spin up their own private servers for old League of Legends. With one of these projects actually becoming successful, and that one was called Chrono Shift. Now, in many ways, Chrono Shift was the exact same idea as people running private servers of Classic WoW before Blizzard released the official Classic WoW. And so, if you search Chrono Shift on YouTube, you will actually find a lot of gameplay videos. And the thing is, about 3 years ago, Riot shut Chrono Shift down with cease and desist, which is exactly what Blizzard did to the other vanilla WoW servers before Blizzard released their own Classic WoW.
And it's what they're doing now with Classic Plus.
So the chances are that the history is repeating itself, and Riot is now shutting down other private servers so they can release their own. And so now, if we take this into account, there are other things that are lining up. For example, remember that Freak was taken away from the live development of League of Legends, and he was moved onto another project of League of Legends. And since Freak is one of the OGs from the very beginning of the entirety of League of Legends,
that is true.
He would have the knowledge of how the game ran back in the day. Though that entire part is still a big tinfoil hat theory. But on top of this, a few weeks ago, you might have seen on social media that Riot invited another wave of creators into their headquarters. And this time, it seems like the summit had a lot of veteran players as well as pros. Also, they let Skin Spotlights in. He probably data mined like 8 future projects. And so, overall, taking everything we just learned into account, if you thought League wouldn't be getting anything big before the big update of 2027, well, Riot might actually be hiding quite a few secrets up their sleeves, with the chances that someone doesn't pull the things out of their sleeves. But somehow, this time, the new content we might be getting is not catering towards the younger audiences. No, they are already getting the WASD as well as the controller support. No.
Oh my god, I forget about that. They're changing MOBAs now and the controllers. Oh, shit's
somehow, the new content is catering towards the boomers. And seeing it is 20-year-old content, we are ancient.
Yeah, that is great, man. Like League Classic, like being a thing, like it shows that there are some game companies that realize they can make money off making games that are not this new hyperactive stuff, right? Like no one cares about how many particles there are and how flashy it looks. No one cares. It's the feel of the game, the fun from the game, and the seriousness. You know, if you take the game way too serious and the whole like shit like that, you take away the fun of some things, you know. And I don't really want to see it. Like League Classic is a good thing, you know. League Classic's a good thing. It shows promise for the future, you know.